Late 80s to mid 90s was a glorious time for what many, including me, consider the peak of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Now, over dinner and drinks, we could argue his best, worst, and most underrated from said era, but his biggest commercial hit, and arguably his most mainstream film, was Timecop. Back when problems could be solved with a swift kick to the face. Bad guys could be classy, charming, and played by the legendary Ron Silver. And we all understood the one constant of existence.
Same matter can't occupy the same space.
So let's flash back to 1994 and show some love to the Peter Hyams directed, Van Damme starring Timecop.
Timecop, which is like Looper, starring Bruce Willis, but like a million times better.
Loosely based on the three-part comic run by Mike Richardson and Mark Verheiden, who both wrote the movie, this was a natural progression for Van Damme as an action star. Timecop is one of those 90s sci-fi flicks that doesn't try to be anything it's not. And that's kind of why it works. It exists in that beautifully pulpy space where 1 minute Van Damme can do the splits in his boxers,
Chalk me up on the big board.
and then have Ron Silver give an award-winning monologue.
Elections are won with television. You don't need the press, you don't need endorsements, you don't even need the truth. You need money.
It's slick, it's fast, and honestly, it holds up better than you'd expect. I mean, at this point in his career, Van Damme had already made himself a household name. He just starred in Hard Target, which marked John Woo's American debut. Just 2 years prior, he had Roland Emmerich directing him in Universal Soldier. What surprised me on this rewatch is just how much more thriller DNA is baked into this. Sure, Van Damme still solves most problems with his legs, but Timecop isn't just about the fights.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
There's more of a tad, but a mature political thriller edge here than I remembered. Now, it's not necessarily against type for Van Damme, but it's definitely aiming for something a little more, cerebral than, let's say, Lionheart or Double Impact. And even some emotional weight thanks to the whole save your dead wife arc. And we do get to see Slow Naked, so, put that up on the board for the guys.
Chalk me up on the big board.
And at the heart of Timecop, who do we have? Of course, it's the muscles from Brussels himself. But I do want to give a little bit of a shout out because this has a pretty solid supporting cast. And you know what? Let's not forget about the Goons. Have we essentially given up on them? Back in my day, the bad guy had f***ing goons. Men who did the dirty work, were loyal to the cause, and had some sort of defining look. Al Leong in Lethal Weapon. Carl in Die Hard. Was Bob not fully in? Yeah, sure, the Joker shot him, but was his heart not into his work? Macomb, a slimy and sociopathic senator, was still wise enough to get himself a plethora of 90s goons. And these two look straight out of Suburban Commando and do their damnedest to kill Van Damme, as they should. This is a solid gaggle of goons trying to accomplish a goal. Really should have had Bob on this team. He would have loved it. He would have tried his damnedest to kill Van Damme. Nowadays, no memorable goons. The pay can't be great now. Plus automation, along with HD surveillance everywhere. A goon just wouldn't be loyal, and I get it. They probably flip quicker than a thug trying to land a hit on Jackie Chan. Let's be honest, the movie would not work nearly as well without the charming Ron Silver as Senator Macomb. Plays the villain like he just stepped off of a Wall Street power lunch and decided, you know what'd be great? Time crimes. He's smug, smooth talking, and downright mean in that perfect 90s political villain way.
Man, that's just mean. That's mean, man.
Silver doesn't go cartoonish. He keeps it mostly grounded and in line with the tone of the rest of the movie. And as a testament to his skill as an actor, he plays both the past and future versions of himself. And we always know which one is which, just by the way he carries himself. Plus, for folks at home, a little bit of a cheat, the past Macomb hadn't quite found the right diet plan yet.
Will you lay off the fucking candy bars?
And since he's not physically intimidating like Andrew Scott, Chong Li, or Tong Po, his scenes with Van Damme are a highlight because they're driven by dynamic tension between their starkly different acting methods. And of course, Sara, playing Walker's wife Melissa. And for those of us that grew up in the Chicagoland area, Sloane's on the Mount Rushmore of childhood crushes. And I get it. If you were born before me, you may want to put Linda on there. Both with big brown eyes you could swim in. But I mean, listen, I gotta go with Sloane. Now yes, her screen time is limited, but she adds some needed sweetness. I mean, Melissa isn't just the dead wife trope. She's got a little bit of fire to her, some tenderness, and legit chemistry with Van Damme. I'd also like to give a shout out to Gloria Rubin because she's low-key one of the best supporting characters. Anyone who grew up on the original run of ER has to love Rubin. But even as a kid in the theater, I saw her villain turn a mile away.
He's running for president. I'm voting early.
But she does really well with the Fielding character. I mean, brings both the strength and vulnerability to, to be honest, a pretty underwritten role. Bruce McGill as Matuzak, Van Damme's boss, brings gruff authority and a bit of friendliness. I mean, this guy is reasonable. Normally, I feel this would be the kind of character that'd be either too much of an ass or annoyed and far less sympathetic to, other protagonists' plight. But here, he's kind of like the guy who seems like he's been through 1,000 government f***ups and somehow still has a sense of humor.
I shot the clerk.
Yes, when did you shoot him?
And real quick, I gotta pause this. Anyone notice that the 90s seem to exclusively have the horny office scientist guy? I mean, Ricky's fully invested into the VR porn, and so is Kevin O'Connor in Virtuosity. And, to a lesser extent, but still horny, Dennis Nedri. Now, this isn't one of those intense JCVD performances where he's needing to defeat a bad guy mano a mano. What makes Max Walker stand out from the, usual Van Damme character is how low-key he plays it. I think Peter Hyams, as in Sudden Death as well, wanted to give Van Damme a bit more to chew on, have him play up the dramatic of the whole situation. He does have it. That's the thing when you compare Van Damme to Seagal or even Chuck Norris. Van Damme has a screen presence. Now, no one's winning any awards here, but everyone shows up and gives it their all, and treats the story with just the right amount of gravitas. Again, Timecop is going for the serious thriller vibes that also happens to have a ton of kicks and a healthy dose of shootouts, so it's walking a line.
There's never enough time
Never enough for what?
to satisfy a woman.
Maybe that's an imbalance to you, but when the most efficient way to avoid 50,000 volts is the splits, you're gonna have a good time. The time ripple was essentially mimicked in Sliders, and we get a clearly influenced T2 liquid nitrogen arm break-off. But, the actual travel is stylistic enough. Hey, this isn't a high-end sci-fi blockbuster. The production design makes the most of its mid-range budget. Though again, this was Van Damme's highest budget movie before Sudden Death. You get Van Damme mixed into a sci-fi political thriller, but the charm is its many Van Dammeisms. But remove those, and this could have easily starred Kurt Russell or Michael Douglas. But it's the Van Damme-ness that makes Timecop as charming as it is. You want to see him save his wife while also not dicking around with that purse thief. We get 2 leg splits, some fun goon mayhem, and great line reads.
He never figured out that the only way to make anything of himself with all that fancy kicking is on Broadway.
Tomorrow might have been a brighter day.
Remember having bigger balls.
I'll tell you this. If I cannot go back to save her, this scumbag is not going back to steal money. I'm still kicking. I must be on Broadway.
The most important line of them all.
Same matter can't occupy the same space.
Same matter can occupy some space.
And this is a personal preference, but just like Nowhere to Run, I do think it's smart to call attention to the accent. It makes sense in the real world that somebody would be like, hey, I got a question.
A motorcycle.
It's what? Hey, good luck with the motorcycle.
You read my mind.
With your English, he doesn't have much choice.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
Timecop works because it knows exactly what it is, and Van Damme was wise enough to see the fun in it all. Now, not a lot of people seem to have watched it, but Jean-Claude Van Johnson was a near-perfect one-season series. It had great action, heart, soul, and was genuinely funny. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because Van Damme had this great Timecop bit that runs through the entire series. And it's honestly one of the best meta things he's ever done. As the great and well-mannered Philippe once said,
Black matter cannot occupy like space. Timecop.
Seems like the world is moving on. Didn't stop to look around. Didn't give a shit if you're crashing down. You can close your eyes but not your skin. Don't believe what you refuse to see.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.